23.98.
I don't even know if I like that name, to be honest. Fully.
Do you not want to say it in this? Just in case.
I'm not going to do an intro or anything. I think it's just like straight into it.
Even in post, you're not going to have like a little sting.
I don't know. I just feel like these first few is just all about figuring out. All right, cameras are rolling.
Glad I didn't say anything. Even though I'm the one who pressed record.
You say the most offensive thing. And it's the title of the video. Cody May.
No. You just ruined SEO. I have none to begin with. And then the first thing is like my defamed podcast with you.
But you get the traffic to your website.
Any publicity is good publicity.
I got a random call from an out-of-state production company, and he told me, he was like, dude, your SEO's on fire, because I just searched Denver cinematographer and you popped up. And
no
I
shit.
was like, I guess that's good to hear.
Is this something you're conscious of? Like, are you working to make that happen?
A couple years ago, I did spend about
2 years ago?
months. Yeah. Just like not even doing anything fancy, but I don't know, like YouTube tutorials on how to optimize your website for SEO. I hate that stuff, but
Oh, so you do it yourself. You didn't even lays out and hire someone.
no. Before we get into anything, I want to ask you, how'd the half marathon go?
Oh, great.
How was the training for that?
The training, let's see. Well, I'm 30 years old and my knees feel like they're 60 years old.
Yeah.
So I think I decided to do it about 4 months ahead of time. So I had like a lot of build up.
Okay.
A lot
4
of
months
training
seems
time.
like a decent amount of time.
Yeah, it was a lot of time. And so I started very slow. And I think that's the thing. You got to let yourself go slow.
Yeah.
I feel like when you run, your temptation is just to run,
Just to go for it.
you know, for your life, and you burn yourself out.
Yeah. Are you like a big runner, or did you used to run? Is this just out of the blue? You just
Totally out of
decided
the
to
blue.
do it?
My friend was like, "Hey, let's do a half marathon," and I said, "Okay," and then he never did it.
So you were stuck doing it?
Nah, me and Ellie did it, and it was great. You know, it was just start with 2 miles, jump up to 4 miles, 6 miles, 8 miles, 12 miles.
Wow.
At some point, my knee gave out, and that has been the biggest thing. The cardio's fine, but the knee, the joints,
Just getting through that pain.
Yeah, I mean, but you don't want to, like, you know, even if you could get through it, you gotta take care of yourself. You don't want to cause any permanent injury, obviously. But
Yeah.
it was great. It was a great half marathon. I want to do it next year.
Okay.
You should do it.
This year has just been about getting into the gym at least 2 to 3 days a week.
Yeah.
I'm still figuring out the schedule with the new baby, but like starting soon, I want to start getting back into trail running, which is what I was doing for a while.
But that's super seasonal, isn't it? I mean, the mud and the snow. I mean, you can't really do that in the winter, right?
Not when it's like slushy and icy.
A few days of dry weather.
But you know, Colorado, we get those sunny days and you can get out there.
Yeah, you're in a great spot for the trail running. But I mean, how fast are you going? Is that just like a leisurely, more of like a fast hike, or are you running?
For me, not being in very good cardiovascular form,
I don't believe it.
if it's up the hill, I'm hiking.
Okay.
I'm not running up the
Oh,
hill.
so you're running down the hill.
If it's downhill, I'm going to run. Mm-hmm. If it's flat, I'm going to run. Mm-hmm. And if it's incline, I'm just going to quickly hike up that hill.
Okay.
And the thing I like about it more than running on the road is that you don't think about pace at all.
In what sense? Because it's so dynamic, or?
Like you're just like hiking.
Yeah.
You're just running out in the woods and in the mountains and like thinking about a pace, being like, oh, I need to get my pace back. Or I need to be like at a certain level. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just goes out the window.
Well, it makes you so conscious of what you're doing. And the whole point is to try to like lose your awareness of the activity and, you know, taking the scenery, taking the wind, the sun, the bird poop, the dead rats.
Exactly. The rattlesnakes.
Yeah. Man, running along the Cherry Creek and the Platte is kind of an experience.
How so?
Oh, there's just so much detritus and dead animals and stenches. It's kind of fun though. You got to dodge the occasional like erupted rat carcass.
I mean, that makes it more fun though.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you're not running on a clean track.
No, we don't need that here.
Yeah, that's cool. Can we talk about anchovies?
Yeah, you want to talk about anchovies?
Yeah, because
the project that we're in the midst of.
The one that we're in the middle of. I'm curious because we haven't really talked in depth about how you feel, how things are going right now after the first interview.
So we are 1 out of 2 interviews down, and then a few days of B-roll.
Yep.
It's interesting. The whole thing with this project. So this is, I guess, for context, this is a project that we're doing for a local branding agency.
Yep.
I guess you'd classify it, categorize it as a documercial. It's about the founder, Sean Ashlow, and his approach to industrial art.
Yep.
Right. And we've done 1 interview, and since then, he actually pitched our new brand. So the new brand for my production company, which we've engaged him to do. And thank God he did that, because he, in the first interview, which you were there for, he talks a lot about, big ideas. We're not just a branding agency. We're an agency that specializes in big ideas, which is quite a statement. And I think it runs the risk of being an empty statement. What's a big idea? I mean, what does that even mean? But once I got to experience his process as a client of his versus just a client of mine, I understand what he means. I understand all that goes into a brand, a name. I understand that it is more than what it seems to be. So the first interview, I think maybe I didn't quite get what I needed to get, to be honest.
But that's part of the process.
It's part of the process. Yeah. We laid the groundwork. Yeah. We got some background. And now for the second interview, which hopefully we'll do in the next month, hopefully sooner.
Yeah.
I think I can speak to him with much greater intuition for what he does.
Yeah.
And I think that, even the design of it is it's all about diving a little deeper into his psyche, into his process. And so I think it actually worked out pretty well. I'm excited for this next interview.
Yeah. I'm really excited about the frames that we set up and went for, because it was pretty ballsy.
It's pretty ballsy. Yeah. How do you, a lot of DPs, prioritize different things, I guess, in terms of clarity, accessibility. It's not the most accessible. It's not, it's not the worst.
Yeah.
You can still, but that third shot we got, which is a shot looking down at a glass table that's reflecting his face. And that's our shot. That's essentially our C-cam.
Yeah.
In terms of clarity, accessibility, it's pushing it. How do you feel as a DP whose job it is to capture an image with some relative clarity? How do you feel doing something like that?
In the moment, it was, we got the frame and we were having a really hard time getting the right look as far as lighting goes, because the room we were filming in was challenging because there wasn't much room.
No, very tiny.
And there was a really big window that we weren't really able to modify too much. There were blinds on that, on the window, but we were having a hard time getting enough light onto the subject without flooding the entire room. And as we were going through that process, I was just kind of I don't know if this is going to work.
You didn't let on. You kept your cool. You kept your confidence, which I appreciate.
Didn't show on my face.
No, not at all.
But I really wanted to get that shot for you. So once we figured out how to kind of shrink the room and almost more spotlight the subject, I'm really happy with how it turned out, even though it's still a little bit, it feels like it's out of focus because you're looking at a reflection, but I feel like it's enough to latch onto and get a little bit of attention. I don't know.
And the attention thing, I think, is the whole point with the way we're trying to shoot this, is to bring attention in a way to the frame itself, but mostly the details and the textures within the frame. I mean, the fact that it is a little muzzy. It seems like there's almost 4 images sort of shifted over each other. It makes you very aware of the texture of the glass and of the table, which is the whole point, because Sean himself, the subject, is very attentive to these things in the real world. So, you're not supposed to do that, but I'm glad we did do it. I'm glad we stuck to our guns.
It was refreshing. And for those of the people who don't know who are listening to this, or the millions of viewers, Cody was directing this and I was DP on this project. And that was our first day out of 3. 2 more to go. Maybe 3 more.
Maybe probably like 2.5, 3 more. I mean, it just depends on how we haven't written the B-roll yet.
Maybe it never ends.
Maybe
we just keep going.
Oh my God. I love talking to Sean though.
I've always wanted to do like a multi-year project. I've never been a part of something like that.
Like, oh my gosh, what's his name? The guy who did Childhood. Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Linklater.
Still haven't seen it.
That scares me. The idea of a multi-year project scares me, not because of the investment in the world, but because of the changing technologies and the aging of the talent. And what if someone dies?
And with something like that, it's not even a personal project. It's like there's money on the line.
There's a lot of money on the line.
So that would be, pretty wild. See, that's the thing I don't know is like in post, I'm going to have to figure out, this being the first one, is like, is this too close? It doesn't feel, I feel like this is the sweet spot maybe.
Yeah, I mean, the levels look good.
We're not peaking.
No, not peaking. I peaked like 5 years ago.
That's a dad joke.
I know, and I'm not even a dad. Gosh, I hear you like talking about going to the gym when you have a kid and a wife and a home, and I'm like, I have no excuse not to bring myself to the gym.
You don't have any excuse.
No.
Sorry.
You do.
In a way, it's focused me, and I've talked to other new dads and dads that have a couple kids.
Yeah, a few of you in the community.
There's we're all having babies. Gosh. It definitely focuses your time. Like you're like, I got 20 minutes in between these two things. I need to go fucking knock this out. And in a lot of ways, it forces you to become more efficient, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, time is our most precious resource, but apparently it can be even more precious when we become aware of its limitations.
The one thing I struggle with the most is the creative aspect, where let's say like I'm like, man, I have like 2 hours before I got to go pick him up from daycare. You can't force creativity, and I don't know I can't remember if we've talked about this before, but that's kind of my world right now. Is like realizing that like, oh yeah, to sit with your thoughts and like really think through a concept and build out ideas, like it's much more of a challenge.
Well, you need time to soak in that world. I mean, because essentially what you're doing, whether it's, I'm a sort of writer by heart. So whether it's like writing fiction or planning a shoot, what you're doing is synthesizing an entire world. And you do need a chance to sit in it and to look around and to take it in. And that just takes time.
Yeah.
I don't think there's really any way around it. What do you do? I mean, when you have 20 minutes to spare, do you just take care of some of the organizational stuff, the admin stuff? Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of forced into that corner for sure.
How do you make time for the creative stuff then though?
I don't.
Okay.
No, I mean, I think it's, we have him in daycare now, so I get a little more time during the day, which is great. So if I get like 2 to 3 hours where I know I'm going to have that time, I'm really lock in, throw on some good music, and just like start writing out ideas and concepts and things like that.
And what's that? I mean, I understand what that looks like for a director, for a scriptwriter. What does that look like for a DP?
I mean, it's very similar. I mean, if you're coming up with different looks and you're coming up with, different looks tied to the script, and, if you're coming up with different lighting diagrams, like I feel like it's still in the same world where you're still trying to think creatively and from a certain perspective. It's different than directing, but also I've been directing a couple spots. I did that running spot.
I loved it.
And a lot of that concepting was like in these small windows of time, which was tough.
Man, that seems like a hard project to sort of blueprint, just because it's a lot of locations, it's a lot of people. There's a sort of there's a physical arc, but there isn't your traditional story per se.
Right.
I feel like that would be tough to wrap my mind around, because you don't really have a sort of rope to pull you through it. The rope being like a narrative through line or something. I mean, how do you, you did well though. There is an arc, there's a shape to it.
Yeah. I think that's how my brain works. I think I thrive more in that world than in like directing a narrative spot.
Oh, really?
I enjoy more of like, we're shooting this scene with this look and this scene, and then how do we bring it together?
Were there a lot of surprises in post-production with that spot, or did it come out pretty much how you anticipated?
No, I mean, shout out to Ricky Bayless. He was the editor on this one, and he just kind of knocked it out of the park. And I mean, like, we got the rough cut and only had good things to pull from. So it was just like editing from there, and it came together really quickly, which is great.
How involved were you in the post process with him? Were you in the
pretty involved? Yeah. Like he kind of spit out the rough cut, and then I took a look at it, gave notes. He came back with a second round, and then we kind of went from there. But that one was interesting. So day one, we were filming in late February. The weather I know. Yeah.
You were telling me the runners were pretty sick of it.
The weather was calling for 60, 65. No, I think, no, 55 maybe. Mm-hmm. And I checked in with them, and they're like, yeah, that's totally fine. Cause it was like sunny, but it was sunny, but day of it was like 40 degrees and brutally cold winds.
Yeah.
So talent was miserable. And, okay, I thought I heard something.
It's a ghost. This place is haunted. We're all hearing things.
Yeah. So that day one was really brutal. The talent was just miserable, and you can only push talent.
Yeah.
Enough. Like, you can only push them to a certain point to try and sell something, but at the end of the day, they're freezing. And you're like, no, you got to look happy, like you're having the best day of your life, and they could be the best actor in the world, but if they're physically shaking, there's only so much you can do. So
stop shaking.
That day one, shout out to the crew and to the talent. We pushed through and we got some good stuff, but we had to reschedule day two, which was like a month and a half later. And we got our day. It was sunny, so 75 degrees, and I would say 80% of what's in the video is on that day too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So are the actors mad at you for putting them through that for no reason?
Probably.
You have to do it though. I mean, that's the thing. You kind of have to get through it.
The amount of coordination, location scouting, and juggling everyone's busy schedules was really tough. So then once you finally get that day and you're all there together, it's like, well, we got to go for it and just see what we can get. And we did get some really good stuff, but most of it was we had to cut.
Oh, no, I'm so sorry.
But that's how it goes.
Kill your darlings.
Yeah.
Yeah, it turned out really well, man.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, it was just a fun one.
The thermal look really worked. I wasn't sure how that would come through, but it did.
Yeah, I just wanted something different and fun, and I'd never done anything like that before.
You're kind of in an experimental phase, it sounds like, a little bit with me.
Yeah, trying out different things. I think, maybe it's just one of those seasons.
Well, I think boredom can be productive in a way, on a micro scale, as in, it's a slow season. So how am I going to fill my time versus, even a macro scale? I recently looking at my body of work and just feeling a little bored by it.
Yeah.
Or not necessarily bored by it, but it's just, I think maybe I've been playing it too safe.
Yeah. And that's tying back into anchovies. Like when you sent me that treatment, after the first 2 pages, I was like, in.
Nice. Oh, cool.
Just because I feel like it was so well thought out, and I felt like I immediately knew what you were trying to say and what you wanted to do. So that was fun.
Yeah, I'm nervous for the B-roll.
When you're coming up with a treatment like that, though, what's that process like? Do you enjoy the treatment process?
Oh yeah, dude.
Really?
The process is, it's all about like finding your way in, of course, right? And to me, that's usually based on a premise or based on a theme. And with the Anchovies project, I suppose it started really neither of those things. It started with a challenge to myself, which was to make something you haven't made before, to make something that is sort of personally intentional with its aesthetics. You know, the things I've been producing the past 3 years, you know, have been sort of a little too agnostic. They've been a little too abject to the brand, I think. There's
from a directing perspective.
Yeah, from a directorial perspective. You know, I'm not really pushing. I haven't really been pushing anything because I just think I'm playing it safe. It's not for me. It has little to do with, you know, they didn't exactly hire me for my most distinct creative style because I don't have one yet. And so I've really striven for elegance. I've really striven for just, you know, getting a good picture onto the screen and cutting it together in a way that's clean and appropriate and accessible. And I think maybe I swung a little too far that way because I found that it's just not personally very fulfilling and it's not very personally representative. So Anchovies is a challenge to create something that is so much more aesthetically intentional, right? But the last thing I want to do is just create a sizzle reel. I mean, there has to be some reason why this piece it looks the way it does. Luckily, there was a sort of justification for that, which is Sean's philosophy about tension. Yeah. They specialize in the Swiss style, which is very simple. It's very objective. It's very clear. And him being a person who values creative incongruities, I figured going the exact opposite way, very maximal, very subjective, very gritty, sort of inappropriate in a lot of ways. Yeah. But I think because of that, because of the tension it creates, it actually, in a sort of diametrically opposed way, represents Sean very intimately. Yeah. So you have to find that theme, you know, you have to find the reason, I suppose, why something looks the way it does. Yeah. And you feel like him as a person, as a creative, kind of like drew you to coming up with that concept? Yeah, for sure. I mean, I respect him a lot. I respect him because he's able to. Now, this is the challenge. What I'm about to say is the challenge with the interviews. Sean, when I first met him, we just engaged him to do our rebrand. He's able to speak about creativity and about design in a very concrete way. He understands why he makes the decisions he makes. That being said, he's also not afraid to admit that a lot of it's intuitive. But I appreciated the way in which he spoke about creativity. It was so down to earth. It was so logical. And I don't see that a lot. So the second I kind of picked up on that with him, I was like, okay, I want to understand how this person thinks about art and creativity and design, especially as it intersects with industry and capitalism. I think he has a lot to say. And so it's just a matter of getting him to say it, which is tough. But the second interview, it's our real chance to do it.
I mean, that's what that first interview is all about. Just kind of like laying the groundwork, figuring out what's working and what's not working. And kind of like that running spot is like that day one. You're like, you know what? The value is finding out what's working, what's not.
100%. So there have been so many times where back, I'm talking like 8 years ago when it was just me and a handy cam making videos for my clients. There was so many days, so many productions where I shot the whole thing at a location with actors and I hated it. I dropped the ball completely. And so I reshot it. I did this so many times out of my own pocket, hiring new people, new locations, and just shooting it again. And I guess it's not the most effective or economic way to do it, but I was never really ashamed of it because I had to see it in real life. I could think through it as much as I wanted to, but you have to see it in real life. Yeah. I don't know how people are able to make feature films without the freedom to reshoot it in an afternoon on their own dime.
Got to be dialed.
It really takes planning to a new level. I mean, hopefully I get to experience it one day. It'd be great, but
but that goes the same for the same thing. What am I trying to say? The same thing goes for commercial shoots too, right? I mean, clients there, scripts there. You really only have like one day to do it. You can't come back the next day. Like I feel that pressure all the time, you know?
Gosh, yeah. I mean, I feel like working with a crew versus working with yourself. I've never felt that pressure, but I think it's just because of the talented people like you I work with. It makes me wonder: are you all just freaking out and keeping it from me?
I feel like I feel that pressure quite a bit.
Really?
Maybe not consciously, but like when we're on set, you know, it's like, man, we gotta make this work. And if it's not working, you got to figure out a way really quickly to make it work. But that's a job, I guess. That's a big part of the job.
Yeah. What other job is such an intersect? Like we have this Venn diagram of forethought and improvisation, and we operate like in between those two.
Yeah.
You have to put in the prep, but I think we also all know that nothing goes according to plan.
It's that fine line, like you just said. Yeah. I feel like I'm working at my best when I have prepped like crazy and I know the shot list and the lighting setups backwards and forwards. But also being open, you know? And that's kind of a crazy thing to think about. But
I feel like sometimes this anchovies project, we have this great treatment. It's a pretty clear look.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm stepping out on it if I, you know, the way I'm thinking about the B-roll, for example, is a little different than I was thinking about it a few months ago.
Yeah.
And it does create a little bit of guilt because we have this sort of master plan. We have this master document, and any veering away from it is making me feel a little guilty. But, you know, I also recognize it's natural. It's inevitable. It has to happen.
And that's a project to do that. Is to switch things up. Like, that's kind of the whole point, right?
Yeah.
And that's how I felt on day one when we were filming that interview. It's like, I mean, if we don't go for it now, that's the whole point of it.
It's so different, though, because I'm like you. I'm very used to having a plan.
Yeah.
And following that plan pretty much to a T. Now, again, granted, the work I've done is pretty straightforward. It's good. I work with a lot of great people. It's technically very sound, but it is very traditional. It's very linear.
Yeah.
So it's easy to follow a plan.
Yeah.
With something like this, which is mixed format, which is very dynamic, which is very sort of unmoored from any linear narrative, that sort of, it's hard. It's becoming really hard to follow a concrete plan because in the nature of the project is sort of this anarchy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I don't know. I mean, we'll see how it goes. It's been fun though.
Can you give a brief overview of the project for the viewers at home?
Of anchovies?
Yeah, for anchovies. Because we kind of just dove into it, I feel like, a little bit. We're jumping all over the place because I've been excited about this project ever since you sent me that treatment, or when we grabbed coffee a few months ago and told me about it. But can you give everybody just a quick little overview on like what it is?
Yeah, let me drink some water first.
Absolutely not. Water break.
You don't have any water.
I do down here.
Oh.
It's my secret stash. I try and do 2 liters a day.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's just two bottles a day.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do 4. I need you to.
Isn't that like water poisoning?
My mom got sent to the hospital for water over intoxication once.
Really?
Like, how much water do you have to drink to drown yourself?
How much was she drinking?
I don't know. I mean, a lot.
Wow.
I wasn't around, but
that's such a random thing.
It is.
To think about.
You can drown yourself.
You can kill yourself from drinking too much water.
Yeah. Probably not a great way to go. Okay, so I did give a description at the beginning, but let me do it again. So
yeah.
We are producing, I guess, what you would categorize as a documentary for a branding agency here in town. They have an office in Lodo, and the founder, Sean Ashlow, I met when I engaged him to rebrand my production company, and he struck me pretty quickly as a guy who had a really thorough and very explainable creative thought process. And so I wanted to make a piece that explores him as a creative, that explores design's intersection with capitalism, that explores creative philosophy. And I wanted to do it in a way that exemplifies his own sensibilities. And so we are producing, probably a 3 to 5 minute documentary about this agency called Anchovies. Yeah. Which, by the way, anchovies?
Yeah.
Who names their company Anchovy? That's the thematic question of this whole project. Is who the fuck names their company Anchovies?
Yeah, that's great.
I love it.
Yeah.
And you come to realize, hopefully in the documentary, that there is a very deep creative philosophy behind that name. It exemplifies everything he stands for. And so my goal is to define that and then to demonstrate it visually, which is where you come in. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It looks good so far, though.
Yeah, I'm stoked on the frames.
And now we finally got the cruise room. There was a moment where we lost the cruise room.
That's right.
And then we've gotten it back. So
yeah,
hopefully late July, mid-July, we'll wrap up the interviews, and then I'm going to write a script based on the interviews, which is not normally what I do.
Okay. Normally,
it's like we kind of understand the B-roll we want to get, the scenes we want to shoot well ahead of time. A lot of pre-interviews, things like that. But this one it's a little bit more experimental. It's a little bit more improvisational, which is really scary, but that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Just to scare ourselves a little bit, because I'm sick of playing it safe.
Yeah, you got to keep pushing.
Yeah.
One of the films that you were pulling inspiration from was Nora, which I still have not seen yet.
Yeah.
It's on the list. Hear good things.
Yeah, it's great.
Have you seen any films in the movie theater this year?
Yeah, dude. I try to go at least once a week. Or,
God, I wish.
I mean, well, yeah, but again, you're a father. I'm just a bachelor.
Yep. That's how it goes.
Childless bachelor. That's the way I want it, though.
Yeah.
It feels indulgent sometimes, but I like it. Gosh, let me think. What I would pull up my AMC, but I don't have my phone.
What's your favorite film so far this year?
Oh gosh, if you're really gonna ask me this, I need to go look at my AMC.
Do it. Yeah, grab it.
I can't remember what I've seen.
I haven't.
That's not a good sign.
Or I don't know. If it's all a blur, that's okay. The last film I saw.
Billy.
The last film I saw in movie theaters was Nosferatu.
Dude, I mean, if that's going to be the last film you see in theaters, that's a great film.
I Can Die Happy. Yeah.
You Can Die Happy. This is stupid. I shouldn't be doing this.
I wanted to see Sinners. Haven't had the chance to yet.
Okay, yeah. Let me say Sinners. I do think one of the best movies I've seen lately has been Sinners.
Okay,
just because of its originality. I mean, it's a vampire story, but
right.
I think he was juggling a lot of themes and a lot of ideas, and he was able to do something pretty new, pretty spectacular, but keep it grounded. I was a little afraid it'd sort of fall off the tracks, and I think he landed the plane. Oh, that's a mixed metaphor. Trains, planes. I think he landed the plane pretty well.
Yeah.
So definitely recommend. The soundtrack is incredible. That might be one of the better ones for sure.
Yeah.
I'm such a TV guy. I mean, do you watch a lot of TV? Are you able to do that? Or
Severance
season 2, baby.
Yeah, that's the last series we watched.
Thoughts on season 2 versus season 1?
As incredible as season 1 was, I feel like season 2 is even better.
You do?
Yeah.
This is interesting. We have conflict.
Oh, we can't work together anymore then.
Well, no, but this is what people want.
Yeah. Oh, they want the fight.
They want the conflict.
I feel like I grew closer to the characters in season 2. The mystery became a lot deeper, and I feel there was more felt more playful in season 1, and season 2 just got darker, and I feel like that's always more fun. More violence, more everything was just like heavier and seemed to matter more, and the cinematography, I feel like they pushed it even more, and I don't know, I just feel that's
was it episode 9 or 7 that we referenced in the anchovies treatment?
7, right? Yeah.
It's the episode that everyone knows.
Everyone talks about.
Incredible, directed by the DP.
I mean, watching that episode, like, just completely blown away in a way that I haven't been in a long time, especially watching TV, like a series. But the mixed media, the way it was shot, the perspective from which it was shot, was just, it was incredible.
It was, and it was a part of, you know, it was a part of that world we hadn't seen yet. And I think that episode, I mean, there's a great example of how you can justify a look with the story. This is, you know, digging into the past, digging into the sort of buried psychology of these characters, and the way they went about shooting it is like perfectly demonstrative of that idea, of that conceit. Yeah. And so, it was a fantastic, it's a good age of television, the past
We're getting some
10
good
years.
stuff. Yeah.
Such a big fan. There's too many great shows out there.
Hopefully it doesn't go away with the industry right now.
Should we talk about AI?
Should we talk about AI? Yeah, let's do it.
What do you think about AI?
To be fully honest, I hate thinking about it, but I don't know.
Are you scared?
Yeah. I mean, every, new iteration and new version that comes out is better and better and better. My hope is that it integrates in some positive way into some kind of a workflow that will benefit us.
I think integrate is the key word there, right?
Yeah, and I don't think it's ever going to replace going out to a specific location and interviewing a specific real person. Like, I don't see it changing that much, because people are still going to want to hear other people's stories. I'm sure it will to some degree, but my hope is that you can still, go different places and capture real people in that way. I think with advertising, it's going to change a lot.
Oh, dude. And that's the thing. I think macrocosmically, as it relates to art, to fine art, to entertainment, I don't feel too nervous about that, about AI's place in that world. However, in our world, where sure you and I may see it as art, maybe you haven't told me that, but maybe you see it as art. I think a lot of people do. We also have to admit, though, that this is something that a company is paying us to do to make them money. And so the justification for not taking shortcuts, because AI is absolutely a shortcut.
Yeah.
The justification is completely moot. Like if our role as commercial filmmakers and producers is to make our clients money, we have no defendable reason why not to use AI.
Right.
That's where it's scary.
Yeah.
When it comes to art, I'm not worried. Mm-hmm. I think people, let me ask you, instead of making an assumption, I like to ask people this as it relates to AI. If AI could generate the best movie you've ever seen, right? A movie that absolutely just speaks to your most personal sensibilities creatively, but it was AI generated, would you watch it? Would you enjoy it?
I think so.
You do? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. In the same way that you watch...
Well, now I am scared.
Well, to me, it's like in the same way that you would watch a movie that is heavy on CGI. Like, well, most of that's not real.
Yeah, but this is something that's generated by a computer, by a machine.
At some point, though, it's going to get so good.
So it doesn't, I guess maybe I'm alone here. I keep thinking someone will share this sentiment. I guess for me, I don't care how good it is. It doesn't interest me. If a person didn't,
you wouldn't want to watch it out of curiosity.
Oh, maybe as a gimmick, as a stunt, sure. But yeah, I think there is something so special about knowing that a human being, a sort of infallible creature of a very limited nature, is able to make something that defies their own physical world, their own emotional world, that defies the limits of their being. I think that's incredible. Yeah. I think that's why when we see a good film, it gives us chills. It's such a thrill because we've seen someone accomplish something that's in a way beyond their capabilities. Yeah. And you lose that completely when it's machine made.
Right.
But would you watch it earnestly? I don't mean as a gimmick. I don't mean as a stunt. I don't mean out of curiosity. But would you return to it? Would you watch it earnestly? Would you enjoy it?
Probably not
Thoroughly. I don't think so.
No, not as much. But when you were saying like, would you watch it or would you enjoy it? I think if it's the greatest movie for me personally, would I enjoy it? Yeah, I would enjoy it, but not as much as if I went and saw the filmmakers that I admire.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, a filmmaker falling just short of your perfect movie versus a machine nailing it 100%.
I don't know. It's kind of hard to think through that scenario and be like, what would I think? Because now I'm going back and forth. I'm like, I feel like I'd go back and forth between like, this is incredible. And then like, ugh, I hate this. Like I'd just be conflicted.
That's interesting. I see AI and now granted, I know that we're speaking at the dawn of this new technology, and I'm sure we'll all acclimate, but I see AI generated content online and I skip right past it.
Oh, same. Yeah. But it's also not that good right now.
It's not that good, but again, it's just the fact that it's been generated. I just don't care.
Yeah, through keystrokes. Well, for a while, I spent a lot of time learning and diving into Midjourney and doing AI-generated photography and a little bit of video. And I spent several weeks doing it just because I wanted to familiarize myself with it and just kind of like figure out what's going on. And my takeaway was that I didn't enjoy doing that at all.
Right.
I was like, oh my, like I can create anything you want. And the results, especially for photography, are pretty fantastic. But the process of sitting there, entering, different keywords, and then it's just like iteration after iteration. And I'm sitting at my computer all by myself alone. It's a completely different process than what we do. I think
you speak to a great point, which is we need to stop referring to AI as a tool and start referring to it as a medium. Mm-hmm. It's an entirely new medium. It's not a tool. It can be used as a tool. It can be integrated in part of our workflow, but
love
predominantly,
my ChatGPT.
Love the ChatGPT, but it's a medium. It's an entirely new medium, and I'm completely with you. There's this idea that AI is going to democratize ideas, and that if you have a great idea and you can speak a language and write a language, you can bring it to life.
Yeah.
I think what people don't appreciate is that we, as just in our specific medium of filmmaking, we enjoy the tactility of it. We enjoy the physicality of it and the reality of it, and working with people and working with fabrics and working with lights and locations.
The collaboration.
And the collaboration with people and the collaboration with the environment.
Yeah.
Is the thrill of it.
Yeah.
I'm totally with you. If our job became, and it might became prompting AI, how would I say it?
Software,
I guess.
Programs. I don't know.
If our job became prompting AI programs,
yeah,
I would not do this because I'm not interested.
It's not an enjoyable process, at least for what it is right now. And I have friends who are heavy into AI photography, and they enjoy it. They do enjoy that process, and I think good for them. But for me personally, my own perspective, when I was dabbling with it and going through it, I just didn't enjoy the process.
And we're back. I don't resent AI.
Right.
I just maybe don't appreciate it, or I don't enjoy it.
Yeah,
it takes the wind out of the sails for me completely.
That's what I was saying too. Is like, I'm not hating on it.
No,
because I know it's going to become a big part of the process. Yeah. However that's going to look, but
yeah, for
what it is right now, not super enjoyable.
No, and I think I would rather personally, gosh, this is another thing maybe we should talk about. I think I'd rather personally move on from this hard life than, no, gosh, that sounded existential. I'm okay.
What are you saying, dude?
I'm okay. I mean, move on from production than become a AI prompter.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, for what it is right now.
No. my imagination is limited. Obviously, I can't imagine what it's going to be in the future. But
I can't.
I don't imagine it'll be something
I'm just leaving it open. I'm
sure.
like, we don't know what it's going to be. Right now, it's clunky. It looks kind of weird. Some of the stuff that I've seen, especially with like, what is it, VO3 that just came out. Yeah. There's some shots where I'm like, that looked pretty good for what it is.
As an augmentation tool, it's pretty incredible. Mm-hmm. I was talking to who was Chris Leclerc maybe 6 months ago, maybe a little bit more. Gosh, maybe it's been more. And he was talking about AI as exactly that, as an augmentation tool. If you need a shot of a camera zooming in from outer space to Denver, Colorado, that's something you can do pretty well with
something you can do
with AI. But in that sense, it's an insert, it's an augmentation. Yeah. It's not the complete synthesis. And I think that's what worries me is treating it as a synthesis tool from beginning to end.
Yeah. We're fucked.
But I don't know if you want to talk about it, but it did, I was saying I might, in that case, I'd like to move on. And what I've been sort of facing some professional crises lately. And I wonder if you feel this about our industry, that it's sort of has a habit of making you feel like you're defined by this job and by your work.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just age. I don't know if it's the fact that it's been a slow season for my company and therefore it's causing me to think about other modes of living. But I'm becoming very aware of that and how I don't really like it. I don't like that we feel like it defines us or we define ourselves by it. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that?
Oh yeah. I mean, I grew up, when I saw The Lord of the Rings when I was 18 years old or whatever, however old I was, I knew that's what I wanted to do. And then I went to film school for 2 years and I shot short films with all my buddies back in Indiana growing up. And it became, going to the movies every weekend and then film school and studying cinematography and shooting. Like that became a big part of my identity. Mm-hmm. And it's been slow for me recently too. And I know a lot of people, not just in Denver, but I mean, across the country and the world. But I found some relief from that when I had a kid. And that kind of like brought me outside of like, oh, like this is what I'm known for. So that was kind of nice. But
now you're just known for being a dad.
Right. Just wiping poop and changing diapers.
What's better?
I think as you get older, how old are you?
I'm 30.
Okay, I'm 36.
I will be 31 in September.
Okay.
You're fucking old. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
You're the one with the bad knees.
Dude, you look my age.
My
you
back,
look good.
My back sucks.
Oh, I mean, that's the real old man shit right there. Yeah. It's the back problems.
No, but the definition of an old man. I feel like as I've gotten older, I care about it less.
Yeah. And
that's a good thing.
I think so.
Yeah, it is a good thing. And even just being more open to like, well, if something happened or a career change came along, not even career change, because I do want to do this for as long as I
What else are you going to do, Josiah?
Nothing. Maybe be a plumber? Nah.
Well, hey, there's no lousy job, just lousy work.
I guess. I don't know what I'm trying to say. We're talking about identity.
You're talking about caring about it less as you get older.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a good thing. And I've had conversations with other friends too, or kind of at the same time in their lives, and putting less emphasis on like, well, my identity is rooted in what I do and what I'm known for, which I think helps you when you're starting out. Because it makes you hungry.
It does.
And it really like lights that fire in you to go for it, which is good. But then you kind of reach a certain point where I feel like it becomes less important to become known for what you do and more for who you are as a person.
I agree. I mean, listen, I think like I think I definitely believe that you are what you do. I don't necessarily believe that you are what you do for work.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, character is action all the way through for sure. But, and I feel so silly because I haven't done enough and I don't know if this is what being jaded feels like, but if it is, I certainly haven't done enough to be jaded, but I just find myself recognizing what a comparative industry this is, what a consuming industry this is, and how there seems to be this sort of moral attachment. And maybe I'm just projecting all of this.
Moral in what way?
Moral in that you are kind of a piece of shit if you're not producing enough. You know what I mean?
Oh, I hear that.
And no one's actually saying that, but but because there is this sort of innate connection between, morality and action, and all we see is our peers producing. It's, you sort of conflate the two. You sort of forget that there's like another way to be, that, I'm not a director. I'm a person who directs, and I feel like I'm becoming a slogan machine here. So watch that in the editing, but you know what I mean? I just think it's important to, I've been talking to my producer, who's also my partner, Ellie, and we were talking to each other, and I was just like, I think, it's maybe okay to take some pressure off of ourselves.
Yeah.
And to take our time into, I don't know. I mean, I enjoy a hustle, but I don't enjoy a hustle when it's for work that I don't really care about. And so I think my priority right now is to just say, be a little bit more selective. And that comes with risk. Again, you're not paying me for this. I'm just kidding. This is the least I can do for you working on the Anchovies thing with me.
Well, I wanted a good bud. I wanted a good friend to come on here that I could just, have these conversations about and feel it out. This is the first one. I don't know, like I was saying to you earlier, I caught myself literally doing that. I'm like, what am I doing?
I've been avoiding completely this camera over here.
Yeah.
The thing with age is you become a lot less photogenic.
I know.
Gosh, why couldn't you have done this 10 years ago? I was so adorable.
Your process of like working with a DP, can you kind of talk me through that from a director's perspective? Because I do both. I'll direct, I'll DP, usually not at the same time. But what are you looking for? I don't want to ask like the classic questions, like what are you looking for in a DP? But like as a director, I guess, what are some things that you enjoy when it comes to working with a DP? Actually, let's start with what you hate.
What I hate?
No, I'm kidding.
Gosh, I hate someone who every time I say, hey, can we get this shot? They go,
Yeah,
I won't name any names.
Question your authority.
Well, that sounds horrible. You better be questioning everyone's authority. But I think when there's there's just a point where we don't have the time.
Oh, sure.
We don't have. I won't name any names, but I was working with someone out of state on a project. I swear to God, every time. We didn't really have a shot list. It was sort of an on-the-fly kind of piece, but I had a very clear idea of how this was going to cut together. I edit 90% of my stuff. And so I understand how I'm going to piece a couple shots together. And every time I would ask this person to, hey, let's set up for this shot. What do you think about this angle? There was always this sort of contrarian.
Just pushback, yeah.
In front of the client, time is ticking. Hate that.
Yeah.
And it's not about my authority. It's just about the process. You can't be a wrench in the machine. I mean, you have to be, we all have to be a cog.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I enjoy in a DP, I suppose, is someone who can at once understand and intuit and internalize whatever look I'm going for, but also find a way to own it themselves. I think that's a big insecurity I have, and something I'm always kind of wondering about with DPs is how do you reconcile the need to meet a director's vision without being sort of subservient to it? How do you fulfill someone's vision whilst also filling your own cup? Or is that not even, I mean, is this just like an egocentric person. And that's why I'm a director, is because I can't imagine serving someone else's vision. I mean, frankly, I don't think I'm capable of it. I've been on plenty of sets where I'm an AD or a PA and I just can't, I suck at it. Mm-hmm. If I can't own the vision, I can't really help the vision.
That's important to know, though. And I think that's a good thing. It's like, you know what you're good at, you know what you're not good at. So capitalizing on that is only a good thing.
But how do you balance that? Serving someone else's vision and filling your own cup.
That's kind of what we were talking about, is like you're riding the line when we were talking about earlier.
It's a balancing act.
Yeah, it's a balancing act. I feel like when you're an up and coming DP and you really want to make a name for yourself, I feel like there's more pressure to push your own ideas onto projects, because you're going for certain looks that you haven't done before. You're going for, things in your book or your portfolio. You're like, I'd really want this. So that's something I was definitely guilty of early on and starting out. It's like I really was pushing too much my own vision and my own aesthetic or whatever I wanted to accomplish. And I think as I've gotten older, old man here,
36,
so fucking old.
Just give it up.
Should I quit? Yeah, I'm gonna quit.
Yeah, just retire.
It's easier now to understand and realize what you can bring to the table and what's appropriate to bring to the table. And now where I'm at in my career is my job is to execute the director's vision while also bringing helpful thoughts and advice on, aesthetically, from a lighting perspective, even from a logistical perspective, perspective. And that's the job.
Do you resent that at all? Be honest.
No, not at all.
You really don't?
No. I like being, I like working on different projects and working with different directors, because you always learn something new. I know that sounds so cliche to say something like that, but
this whole thing has just been a cliche machine.
Can that be the title of the podcast?
The cliche machine.
The cliche machine.
I hear myself saying things I've heard a million times, but it's
same. Yeah,
it's true.
We should cut this episode.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I never came on here.
What I'm trying to say is that where I'm at now in my career, I enjoy the process of executing that vision while also bringing helpful ideas to the director.
How much do you value specificity, and to what degree? I mean, is there a director, can a director be too specific with what they want, and it puts you in a place of feeling more of like a technician or a body than a mind? Or is specific better?
No, I mean, I think it's always better to be more specific in the beginning. And like we're saying, again, I'm going to say it, being open to possibilities when you're on set in the moment. But like, that's just my favorite thing. Is it's awful when the director is not specific and they're not clear with what they want, because that's going to lead to so many problems down the road. So I think, and a lot of young directors coming up, they're like, oh, well, I want everybody's opinion, or I want everybody to kind of like chime in. Like, that is not a good thing. Yeah. You don't want that either. So.
And I don't think they want that. Is the thing to remember.
Right.
For directors coming up.
And I'm not hating on them either, because that was me. But sure. I'm just saying, like, at least in the beginning, being more specific is just way more helpful. And it's way better.
So what about a project like Anchovies that we're working on, where it's sort of, because I'm a little uncomfortable with it, it's sort of baked into the design that we are open to respond to the environment and to experiment on set. I'm freaked out. And I'm also freaked out that it conveys to you that I'm the kind of director who has no vision, which just personally makes me insecure. But how are you feeling about a project that is sort of intentionally open-ended?
Because you were very specific about that from the beginning.
Fair enough.
Right? Like, going back to the treatment, you're like, this is what this is. It's not going into it being like, well, maybe it's this and maybe it's that. Like, you didn't do that,
Yeah.
And you were providing opportunities to be spontaneous within a structure.
Right.
And I think that's a good thing. That's the way to do it.
So for all directors who don't know who don't have a vision, just state that in your home free, baby.
Yeah, just say, I don't know what I'm doing.
But like state it confidently. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. No. You had a very clear vision, and that's like I said, after page 2, I was like, I'm in.
Man, you asked me a very good question, which surprisingly a DP hasn't asked me before. Now, granted, I work with a very select few people. I don't get around too much.
Okay.
But you asked me, I'm trying to open that up, by the way, which is why we're finally collaborating.
Yeah.
But you asked me regarding what was going to be the opening shot of the documentary, which is now not happening because I totally dropped the ball. You asked, what's the emotion you're going for? And it's crazy because I found myself for some reason, I don't know what condition has been created to make me feel like I have to do this, but I found myself avoiding emotional language lately when I'm talking to my music composer or DP or a colorist. Uh-huh. Whereas in my mind, it is all very emotional. Uh-huh. And you said that, and I was just like, oh my God, I don't know why I've been avoiding that, but I can talk to you about emotion, and hopefully you're able to interpret that and to concretize it into a shot. Mm-hmm. I love that. And I want to exploit that more as we go forward, because that's it.
That was that whole process as we were talking about that opening shot. And for whatever reason, I couldn't understand what you were trying to go for. Mm-hmm. And then I think I just kind of realized, I'm like, well, yeah, like what is this shot all about? And then when you said it, I can't remember exactly what you said.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But I was like, oh yeah, okay, I know what we're doing now. And that was like super helpful.
So obvious in hindsight. It's one of those moments where I keep finding myself, again, not that I'm a pro or anything. I haven't been doing this in any serious capacity for that long. Mm-hmm. But it's one of those very obvious lessons that I guess you just have to relearn over and over again, which is like state the intention.
But that was a very specific shot. And I think you can give yourself a little bit of a break, because that was a very unique shot, mm-hmm. to where like normally I think you would be able to say like, this is what we're doing. But because it was such a unique shot, I think I just needed a little bit more.
Well, obviously, yeah. I mean, you should understand the emotional or the experiential context to that shot. And I don't know why I didn't volunteer, but I love the question because it got absolutely to the root of it. And so I think I want to work with people who can speak emotionally. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people out there who you have to speak very literally to. You have to use very concrete details. This is exactly the kind of angle I want, or this is exactly the kind of instrument I want. Mm-hmm. And that's how they operate.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I want to be able to speak emotionally. I want to be able to cry. I'm just kidding.
Should we cry more on that?
I think we should cry more.
Okay.
Hey, maybe we could do that shot for the second interview, by the way. And that actually might be easier because we don't have to go through all the interior stuff. It's mostly just straight from outside to inside.
Yep.
So we could do it.
I'm down.
Because I totally was like, oh, we'll do it after, and then
I enjoyed like, I know what we're talking about. Actually, let's talk through the shot.
Gosh, okay.
Because this is I'm learning. This is the very first podcast. People don't know what we're talking about. The shot. Talk us through it.
The idea was so we're shooting these interviews at the Oxford Hotel, which is on 17th and Wine Coop, right across from Union Station in Denver. And the shot was to start on an establishing shot, maybe of Union Station, maybe of an alleyway somewhere outside of the building, a sort of locked off establishing shot. And then into frame comes our subject, Sean, the star of the documentary. And you would pick up the camera from the ground or from the sticks, and you would follow Sean down the street, around the corner, into the building, up the stairs, up the elevator, down the hall to his office, where we would land in our interview, in our talking head.
And this was like a 7-minute tracking shot.
It's a 7-minute tracking shot. And of course, it wouldn't be 7 minutes in the final cut. It'd be maybe 20 seconds. But
when we filmed it, it was...
The idea was to sort of position Sean in this place where we're following him, and he doesn't really care about us. He's an earnest enough fellow. His head is down close enough to the desk where he doesn't care about the camera.
Right.
We're sort of breaking the fourth wall to keep up with him. And I just thought the motion of that shot, I thought the sloppiness of the shot, the way it transitions from one clean, designed, purposeful shot of a building or whatever to his interview with all this mess in between. I something about it just really interests me. It sort of pulls back the curtain a little bit, which is the whole idea of the film, is to reveal creative process. And I just thought that opening shot, if we had accomplished it, and which we still may, I think we should, sort of, I don't know, exemplifies that in a way. But yeah, you just had to be like, what is the, what's the point? I guess what's the point of this shot?
I think that's what I was asking, because I was like, why? Yeah, why are we doing what is? And then when you explained it that way, I was like, done.
But see, I think it speaks. I'm wondering if this reflex of mine speaks to something that's a little bit more cultural, which is we're sort of kind of anti-reason these days. I feel like people resent purpose. I feel like people resent theme and clarity and definition.
Yeah.
I think you can point to most popular media and sort of prove that, where people sort of relish in the obscurity of things. And so I have sort of trained out of myself the need to provide a reason for a shot or a decision, because I think I've convinced myself that that's what people want. They don't care about the reason. So man, when you said that, as simple as it is, it told me a lot about you as a DP and as an artist. And I really, really appreciated it. And it sort of shook me awake a little bit.
Yeah.
So it was a tiny little question, but man, it was perfect. I loved it.
I'm excited to knock it out next time.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's actually do it.
Yeah. Let's actually.
Although remember the jelly on the lens filter.
Yeah, we're gonna axe the jelly.
Yeah.
We did an effect for the first day of interviews where I just took a UV filter and put it on the front of the lens and just got some petroleum jelly and smeared it on there. And I was not expecting it to look as good as well, not only as good as it looked, but it was exactly what we were talking about.
Oh yeah, it hits the references to a T.
And then when it popped into my head, I'm like, oh yeah, that old film school college trick.
The oldest trick in the book.
The oldest trick in the book. That's not gonna work. But it wound up replicating those reference photos. I mean, perfectly. Yeah.
But what we found is that works in an interior setting with false lights. But once you put it directly into the sunlight, you can see very obviously the jelly on the lens. It looks like someone took their finger.
It's that and the motion, right? I think it's the locked off, like for an interview, for a locked off shot, it works really well. But once you introduce motion, you start to see the lines. Yeah. And like you said, the light changing as it's hitting the lens, and you're like, oh.
So how are we? Because I want that in the second interview. I want the jelly on the interview, but we can't use it for the tracking shot. So I don't know how. We might just have to stitch it together, but and it's one of those things, kind of like this podcast. We're just let's get in the can and we may never use it, but because we're still learning about this project as we're producing it, which is very rare.
Yeah.
But let's just get in the can and then see what we can do with it in post.
Sweet. I'm down.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
But, unfortunately, you have to drive people to the airport that day. So I have to find a new DP to shoot this.
I know some people. I'll send some recommendations.
Yeah, you've got your priorities. No, just kidding. It'll be great.
Yeah, I'm stoked for that.
Me too.
Before we wrap this thing up,
I
don't even know what this thing is, but top 5 films.
Ooh, man, you see this on Instagram, Letterboxd, and everyone panics.
The Letterboxd, like, no.
Okay, I'll give some films, and I want to acknowledge this is nothing that intellectual.
Oh, mine is not.
These are all
great. I actually haven't updated mine since a long time ago.
Wow. Okay.
So I need to update it, but
okay. And these are all just fucking white dudes, which I'm ashamed of, but it's the truth here. It's just
the worst.
It's just, I'm just not that. I'm not that explorative with.
I'm pretty sure mine is too. Actually.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, let's go back and forth. I'll say one, you say one.
Okay.
Okay. I think probably my top film that I keep coming back to and that I keep dreaming of is Prisoners by Denis Villeneuve.
Hell yeah.
That's an underrated film. It is a quietly brilliant film. And that's the first film I watched. I'd been producing, I'd been making videos by myself for a while, but that was the first film I watched that made me so aware of the role of a director as purely a director, not a writer director, just a director. And it left a residue on me.
Yeah. You walk out of that theater and you have that feeling.
For probably 2 weeks, I felt the rain and the gray and the cold, and Johan Johansson's score for that is absolutely haunting. Rest in peace, because he was brilliant. That film is so special. Yeah. And that's probably my top one. What about you?
Well, my top one is interesting because it was always the Lord of the Rings trilogy for my entire life.
You count that as one, or?
I count it as one.
Okay, that's a stretch.
Shut up.
Is that 4 films or 3 films? Okay.
It really is one movie,
I suppose. They shot it back to back, didn't they?
Yeah, they shot it all at once. It's one story.
To see it. I don't know if I've seen it all since like 5th grade.
Get out.
I'm so sorry. Okay, Lord of the Rings.
Until I saw Dune 2.
No shit.
And I've seen it 5 or 6 times since it came out. And I think as an adult, it's my favorite film of all time.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's Denis Villeneuve.
Again.
It really, it blew the first one out of the water, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, Lord of the Rings will always be like my all-time favorite movie, but I think things change when you grow. And as an adult, it's my favorite film. Okay, number 2.
The Prestige by Nolan.
So good.
It's his best. It's his smallest. Maybe not his smallest, but it's probably his second or third smallest film beside Insomnia and Memento, and it's his best. It's an incredible script. Obviously, that's a lot owed to his brother, but like the way the editing in that film, and the subtlety of the score, the atmosphere, the texture is so chilling. I love that film, and the ending. I mean, come on.
I haven't seen it. I need to rewatch that one.
Such an exemplary peripetia there. So
yeah. Number 2 is The Matrix.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The first one. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What about it?
Cinematography and seeing it at that point in my life, I think my brain just like splattered against the wall when I watched it.
When did that come out? That was...
I think it was 99.
Okay. Did you see it at the time and remember seeing it? I mean, you would have been...
I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it definitely later. But I can't remember how old
Have you revisited it recently?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it holds up for you.
Yeah. 100%.
It's a good film.
Yeah.
Do you like what else they've done recently, like Sense8?
Haven't seen it.
No, really?
No.
Okay, interesting. No. I would give it a shot.
I should.
Yeah, it's I think it's sort of divisive.
Well, I saw the new Matrix, the most recent one. That it was
okay, good. Yeah, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but it was really bad.
Really bad.
It was really bad.
It was to the point of I was like, what am I watching? In a bad way, right? Because there are those movies.
But again, relishing the obscurity. People like that.
Yeah.
But not in a good way.
Not in a good way.
Number 3, I think, Nightcrawler.
Oh, like another banger.
God, that is I would say really comes down to 2 things: performance and script.
Yeah.
The script, by the way, if you read the screenplay, is so interesting. It's actually just kind of one sentence with a lot of ellipses. He the way he wrote it is just one continuous sentence, and I think that's how the film feels. Is beat to beat, continuous, cause and effect, incredibly thrilling, and such an interesting portrait of. And I'm so ashamed to say it, but of such an interesting anti-hero. I'm kind of over the anti-hero thing.
Yeah.
But great film. Nightcrawler.
Yeah, great film. Number 3 for me is In Bruges.
In Bruges. Oh gosh. I just see that man on the ground.
Splattered.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Okay. So man, so far I'm noticing that you have quite an emotional range. All of mine have been so somber and serious, but In Bruges is quite a standout.
It's a dark comedy.
It's dark,
yeah,
but it's funny.
It's really funny. I need to rewatch that one too.
Have you seen his recent work?
Which was
Banshees of okay.
Incredible.
Okay, yeah. I much better than, Matrix.
And also Three Billboards was amazing.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, that one missed the mark for me. I'm not sure I understood it, but I'd like to go back and rewatch it in hindsight.
I saw it in theaters, really enjoyed it. I just remember the scene. Is it Sam? Not Neil. Sam Rockwell.
There you go.
is that tracking shot of him like walking across the street,
yes,
like beating up those dudes, and like so brutal. But I remember it being like, whoa.
You feel like a witness there in that moment.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be there.
Incredible. And I'm realizing I only have a top 4. I can't remember my top 5th. I haven't talked about it for so long. Well, you say your 4th.
I'm going to ignore The Dark Knight because that's like one of everyone's favorite films.
Boy, yeah.
But I will, let me give an adjacent film, The Batman.
Okay.
The atmosphere of The Batman.
Yep.
The commitment to that atmosphere. Mm-hmm. It's one of those films where it's like my dream IP used to be Batman. If I could just like get my hands on IP, it'd be Batman. I've always been such a fan, but he did it so well. Matt Reeves did it so well that I don't even care anymore.
Dude, that's up there. That was it. I mean, with The Dark Knight, obviously, especially for us, like growing up, that was like the pinnacle. Like when we all saw that, we were like, that's the best movie in the world. And it's still, I mean, I watched it a couple years ago. I'm like, man, it's pretty fucking good.
But it's not Batman. That's the thing I keep coming back to.
Yeah.
It's not a Batman film.
It's more of like a blockbuster. It's more of an action film.
I don't know what
it doesn't have that feeling. Right.
Exactly. And that's something other than The Prestige with Nolan and maybe Interstellar. He doesn't have much of an atmosphere. He's a very austere filmmaker. Mm-hmm. But I think with a character like Batman, you have to drench the world in gothicism and rain and darkness, and you have to. Nolan is too much of a romantic with a capital R to be at the helm of the Batman IP. You cannot be a romantic and make a Batman movie. They do not go inside.
Shots fired.
Sorry. All right, give me a 4th.
My 4th is, let me think for a second. Sideways.
I don't know what that is.
It is.
Or maybe I do.
I think you do.
You're going to show me the poster?
Yeah, and see if you recognize it. A wine film, an indie film.
No shit.
With Paul Giamatti.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's incredible.
So you're a Giamatti fan?
Huge Paul Giamatti fan.
The Holdovers did something for you?
That's like Dead Poet Society for this generation.
It is.
I loved it. And it's such a cozy film, too. As dark as it is, my wife and I watched it, and it was just like, oh, this is the perfect winter film.
It's great. Yeah, you don't get many films like that anymore.
Yeah.
But what about Sideways?
That one tricked me. I thought they shot it on film.
I know, man.
And they didn't. I was like,
and you can even see it jittering a little
such a good job. Fuckers. Which kind of pisses me off, but...
I'm actually hearing this for the first time that they didn't actually shoot on film.
I better be. You can check me on that.
I'm going to sue them.
Give me some of the money, please. That's my 4th. And I'm trying to remember my 5th. This is why I need to update it, because that list, Lord of the Rings / Dune, Matrix, In Bruges, and Sideways, like that, it's very dated. And I've seen plenty other films that I think might creep into that top 5.
It's just because you haven't been watching movies lately.
Well, that's very true.
And we're all disappointed in you.
Yeah, I know. I need to get back. At least I watched Severance.
That's your one claim to fame, is that you
Nosferatu.
Severance.
6
Great
months
film,
ago.
Great film. Yeah, well, if you ever think of it, text me.
I'll text you. I'm surprised I can't remember.
Do you have it? You just can't think of it right now?
Yeah, I'm blanking. I know I have a top 5.
Come on,
I know there's a 5th. I truly can't remember what it was. I should have written it down.
Well, what a disappointing way to end the podcast.
Sorry, folks.
This is just actually going to force people to engage. What's your 5th film? What's your 5th film?
Did you say your 5th?
No, I think I would go for. This is so stupid. I'm torn between 2 Macbeth adaptations. Okay. I think I'm gonna go for Oh my gosh, what's his name? I can't remember.
The director's name?
Kurzel's Macbeth with Michael Fassbender.
Oh yeah, which I have not seen.
Marion Cotillard. Incredible soundtrack. First of all, his brother Jed Kurzel is so good. He's on a roll this year too. He's done like I think 3 or 4 different features and limited series that I've loved. But the use of color in Kurzel's Macbeth is like my North Star for color. I've never really done it. I've never really achieved it because it's never felt appropriate. But if I could color a film any way I want, I would color it the way he colored Macbeth.
Amazing.
It's incredible.
Okay, last quick question before I wrap this up. I'm going for an hour and a half. It's flown by.
Yeah.
What's your favorite movie theater in Denver?
The AMC on Colorado and like 8th.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
It's a great theater. I mean, it's I'm just an AMC fan, just frankly because of Dolby and of A-List.
Yeah,
$20 a month for I think 3 movies a week. They're not making a profit on me, which I do feel a little morally conflicted about. I want to make sure that the filmmakers are making their share, but I'm sure that falls on AMC, not me.
Yeah.
But great question. Yeah, I think the AMC on Colorado or the old, rest in peace, the old
Esquire.
The old Esquire.
That was a good one.
Shit theater, but just I live in the neighborhood and it's a great experience. Just like, the Mayan on Broadway. That's another great one. But
it's a Cap Hill classic.
Cap Hill classic, the Esquire.
So good.
We tried our best to keep it alive, but it's gone.
R.I.P.
Yeah. How about you?
I was gonna say the Mayan, but as far as like ones that I go to, the ones that I would go to that AMC one all the time in Cap Hill. So that's
fantastic.
That was a go-to. The one out here in Colorado Mills is really good. Yeah,
a bit of a, well, I guess it's not too bad for you. That's like probably the closest one for you. I think for me, the AMC on Colorado, or, I will say the AMC Westminster Promenade off of the Turnpike, off of 36. Oh, yeah. They, big AMC, but they are always playing the smaller titles, which I really, really appreciate. You'll find them in Highlands Ranch and you'll find them in Westminster. Okay. And they're always playing slightly, lesser known, more indie titles that you can't find at the more popular locations. So they deserve some credit too.
Shout out. Also the Alamo Drafthouse in Westminster. Fantastic.
Man.
Not a fan.
No, I love it because I'm getting so sick of going to the movies because people have no respect for the atmosphere. They're talking, they're crunching, they're texting, they're farting.
Doing everything.
And I'm so sensitive to that kind of stuff, to the stimuli, that I cannot. I was watching Bring Her Back the other day, and there's this guy next to me who was so emotive. And I respect that. I'm glad you're feeling it, but it's so distracting. Or people who shake their feet. Yeah. It's so distracting, and it makes me resent humanity. So Alamo comes in handy for that.
Well, that was my hot take for a while. My gripe with Alamo, I hated Alamo for the longest time.
The food.
Well, I'm trying to watch a movie.
I know.
And I don't need people, they're slinging burgers and wolfing down like jalapeno poppers right next to me. And if it was a movie that I'm like trying to really watch, it's just like pissed me off,
Yeah, it is.
I'm like,
very distracting.
Like stop, and then the servers are constantly like,
and they're hunching, to try to be out of the way, but it's creepy.
It's worse.
Like,
just walk like a normal person.
And they're always like, "Did you get the jalapeno poppers?" No, stop coming to me.
Yeah, so like any movie that I really wanted to see, I had friends who'd want to go and be like, "No, not going."
Really? I don't blame you.
Yeah. If it was a movie that I was like, sure, we can go see it. Ones that I didn't really care about. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, dude.
This was fun.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it goes. I would love to have you back on when we have like a cut. Of anchovies.
That would be fun.
And we can kind of blast it out.
All right, and you're gonna work. We can cut to, and you're filming this, right?
Oh yeah.
We can. So we can like show different things.
You have to figure that out. This is all I have set up right now.
Yeah, but you can impose like different shots.
Yes,
over this.
in post. Cool. With the power of AI.
Fuck you.
On that note.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for having me be your first guest.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of you for acting instead of just thinking. So
we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, man, it'll be great.
Cool.
All right.